We just got confirmation that Dragon Ball FighterZ still has some kick left before the release of Sparking Zero, and I believe that this tells us more than meets the eye, so let's get into it. As of only a few hours ago while writing this, Hiroki-san from the FighterZ dev team dropped the announcement that we'd be seeing more content coming from FighterZ Way. This not only includes one, possibly, final world tour for the game, but a balanced patch helmed by Arc System Works. If you're only a Dragon Ball fan and don't really know what that means, this is a pretty good sign. Out of this announcement, we sort of got confirmation of something that a few people speculated, that the rollback and port versions of this game weren't actually handled by Arc System. If that's still a bit confusing for you, know that the FighterZ port and rollback updates not only had visual fidelity issues, but functional problems that affected the game's playability and lobbies. These things, while common in retrofitting games for rollback, were mostly solved by the Arc System team and their other titles. Games like Guilty Gear Plus R, Guilty Gear Xrd, Blaze Blue, and so on are examples of older titles being given the playability boost in a genuinely impressive fashion. A game like Tekken 8, which hasn't been out for a year yet, has received probing from popular streamers complaining about the reliability of the rollback. Things like matchmaking, lobby functions, and so on were major gripes when the title launched. So yeah, it's time to put on my speculation hat. Dragon Ball FighterZ released on January 26 in 2018. It's one of the best-selling fighting games of all time, obviously, with a lot of that credit going to the Dragon Ball IP. Recently, Dragon Ball's had a lot of issues promoting its products. Daima is basically a phantom series that we know nothing about, despite being teased half a year ago. Dragon Ball lost its #1 selling spot at Toei, which it held for 7 years without a proper anime series accompanying it. The Super manga has gone on an indefinite hiatus, it seems like, and the versions of the stories that we as consumers have gotten are completely disjointed from things like Dokkan Battle, Dragon Ball Legends, Sparking Zero, and FighterZ. We don't really get manga-specific characters in these games, even when they've keen on using manga-only attacks from it. Suffice to say, Dragon Ball is craving a win. Sparking Zero's release date could have been leaked, and we might be playing it as early as Christmas come this holiday season. I think the game looks awesome. Some people think it's going to be the best-looking Dragon Ball game ever, and if I'm super-duper honest, I'm still sticking with FighterZ in that respect. It is what it is. Super Dragon Ball Heroes is a franchise that's being ousted and replaced by Dragon Ball Divers, whatever the fuck that means. Dokkan Battle is syncing its versions after literally 9.5 years of runtime come August. This is the definition of pressing the refresh button on all things Dragon Ball. While we're still missing an anime series, they've pressed the big red button, and I'm sort of convinced that FighterZ is rebuilding interest to announce something new as early as Battle Hour of 2025. Again, this is pure speculation, but we haven't seen anything indicating that Sparking Zero is even going to be functional online. No lobby news, no rollback or delay based information, nothing even hinting at PvP outside of what we know is present in older Budokai titles. Meanwhile, Arc System is heading into year 4 of Guilty Gear Strive. It hasn't really attached itself to anything besides co-developing DNF Duel and releasing the recent Rising update for Grand Blue Versus. I think one of the saddest things when it comes to Dragon Ball, being a Dragon Ball fan and interacting with something that I'm sure we all care very much about, is just how it's handled. We're at the point where it's hard to be excited about anything Dragon Ball beyond just pure cope. I cope every single time that I hope the next Sparking Zero trailer will say rollback netcode. I cope whenever I look at Fusion World, which is the card game, and go, why doesn't this have a free-to-play model to actually get players in the door instead of just being a greedy runoff of the physical product? I could generally make an entire video just talking about how poorly they've handled Fusion World's online digital version. I mean, it works. But the matchmaking's bad. You basically can get matched up against anyone. You're beholden to card pack fishing. You don't really get any free-to-play currency. If you do, it's over the course of like months. And it's not to say that everything should be League of Legends Runeterra. Runeterra is the most free-to-play game I've ever played, period. Like, it might only be less free-to-play than, I don't know, maybe Marvel Snap. I think it's better. It's more free-to-play than Marvel Snap. I'm not going to say that Fusion World needs to be that, but it should have a free-to-play model, certainly, right? Like anything. I could point to Dragon Ball Legends having a terrible PvE system that doesn't feed into its PvP system. It's basically just a waste of time that keeps you playing, and if you're telling me that you get on Dragon Ball Legends to play PvE, you need to do something else with your time. Like, I don't want to mean to be friends with or anything, but what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's such a non-game to play PvE in that game, and you're just doing it for free-to-play rewards, but the free-to-play rewards also don't trickle heavily enough into how fast the game power creeps its units out, and unlike something like Epic 7, it just doesn't work, doesn't function. My campaign for this year and all years following are going to be to make Dragon Ball games better, to to hold the companies that possess the Dragon Ball IP accountable. They need to stop relying on laurels and hanging around these archaic formats. This series is beloved. Do not abuse it. We cannot let them make this Pokemon, right? Like, I will say, if I'm being super fair, there is a hierarchy, and the worst you can be right now is like a Pokemon fan, because they drag them motherfuckers through the mud, and the Pokemon fans are like yippee, yummy, delicious. Like, I fucking love slop, and I say this as someone who plays ROM hacks and stuff. Like, I love playing like difficulty ROM hack Nuzlocks. So, you know, I get it, Pokemon fans. Went a bit off topic there, but yeah, if you enjoyed this, want more Dragon Ball news and fighting game updates, slide your boy a like. Subscribe to the channel to see more. Owners, man.